favourite finally dominate? Or will he be yelling, TIMBO into next weekend, say? We have OBABO versus TIMBO. You can see on OBABO's side as well, Legend, rank 1, highest ever, with a Heigang ban and a Ganymede ban from the side of TIMBO.
Yeah, definitely units that I think the Heigang ban is definitely something that TIMBO has been picking up more recently. Also the Ganymede on the other side, that's definitely something we see a lot more in China prelims. But also a very strong pick throughout. And we have the first pick towards a Sekhmet, which is kind of the style of Raigeki. So OBABO does like to play many styles of many regions. TIMBO, do you go for that first turn or do you go for a turn 2? But the first turn would be signaling somewhere alongs the Moor play, the Water Ryu. Or would you say like, okay, I did not really expect that pick. He's really taking his time here for his pick. Goes for that Vanessa, maybe a Camilla. Goes for the Julian pretty early on.
That is an early on pick for Julian as well, but we see there Vanessa Julian. He did take his time, but we do know he is very much a stickler for the preparation, so he's making sure that he's comfortable with those units. What can we see as a response here, do you think, say?
I would say maybe taking away that Water Ryu is an option. Chibu is definitely an option. Going for that Asher, heavily contesting that speed. So TIMBO, if he would contest speed right now, he's in a very dire position because there's already so much speed on the side of OBABO. So I definitely do think that TIMBO would signal more towards a turn 2 right now, because OBABO's 3 units on the field don't signal too much damage. OBABO's next 2 units have to be a lot of damage, and that's also what we see from TIMBO. Passive units with that Camila, with that Rakuni. OBABO definitely has to go for heavy damage dealers here in the slot 4 and the slot 5. Could be that Bella, could be that Han. He's also been picking up a lot of Shiho these days. Definitely something along those lines with the crazy runes that we know from OBABO that has to put a lot of damage on the side of TIMBO.
Here we go. He's looking at the Han and the Dark Robo and locks them in.
Dark Robo is slightly less on the damage, but has a lot of that AoE damage. So definitely the damage is still in there. TIMBO probably goes for more passives on this case, but then the big question is, what is a passive unit you feel most comfortable with? Could be a Juno, could be anything with counters, could be the Lucia, could be a Abellio. Definitely a very strong healer right here. Bans. Interestingly enough, I would say Sekhmet might be potential for that ban. On the other hand, that Abellio is very deadly as well, and they also both hard counter each other. If one of the two is on the field, it is like this beneficial. We do have the ban on that Abellio, and we have the ban on the main damage of OBABO.
Here we go then, both taking speed leads. TIMBO with a bit more of the speed lead. We're probably expecting Escher or Sekhmet, eh?
I would probably say, yeah, the Asher does make most sense. Interestingly enough, that is probably a Vio or Despair Segment because it moves a lot slower than the other units. Let's see, Robo, how much can you give us for damage or stunts?
Oh.
Decent amount of damage, but no stunts.
Here we go, we're going into Sekhmet. All skills are available. Deciding second skill, but Julian cleanses, he's back up, he can stun.
Yeah, definitely. We do have that armor break on the Vanessa, which could be a target for that Asher, but the Asher was stunned out there, and the Camilla is also, even though that glancing was there, still stunned. Rakuni cannot heal himself right now due to that heal block, but definitely it's hard to say who's in the driver's seat over here. We do have that heal coming up, and a huge Vio proc for a slightly bit more protection for that whole team.
Here we go then, Chiwu. I remember from last year, Chiwu's damage was insane on an OBABO. Trying to go for the sleep, didn't get.
Yeah, was not too much damage right there. We do have Asher on that Nemesis, but it's going to have that armor break sticking on him for quite a while. You could decide to remove that. Asher, skill 3, a lot of damage. How much damage are we going to do on that Rakuni? Rakuni survives by the sliver of health.
Oh, and he's taken down Asher as well.
Yeah, that's definitely a big downfall, and currently it's getting more and more difficult to kill any of the units on the side of TIMBO. They're not looking too lively, but on the other hand, there's a lot of recovery slowly chipping in. We have the Julian coming up with a second S2, doing a lot of damage on those units, getting a Vio proc, having that S2 up. Once again, Rakuni has the skill 2 up as well. Nope, just used it before.
Wow, there's so much damage in that Julian. Any violent proc is going to be definitely very beneficial for TIMBO. As we see here, Robo, no skills really, and Vanessa's going to do a bit more damage, likely. On the Robo, lands defense break.
Yeah, in this case, definitely does go for that spread of saying, like, okay, the Robo is the main damage threat that is still on the field. The Segment wouldn't do all too much. So it's kind of left and right spreading out that damage. But in the end, very clean play and very well played by TIMBO.
Wow, TIMBO 1-0 against OBABO. I think it was almost like a battle that none of the guys were taking part in. You know, OBABO was going for that speed, but didn't have enough damage to necessarily follow up. And TIMBO was, yeah, come on, bring it. and I'll survive through and manage to make it all the way through. How do you think we change this up now?
I think OBABO, rather than that robot, maybe needed a slightly bit more damage or something with more pushbacks. The big issue is there's not too many units that great as a pushbacker that would be water, because that Raccoon was on the field and the Vanessa was on the field. You can't really go for a Scar in that moment, but a Taeor would very much fit.
Here we go. We see a Julian ban and the Chungpung ban, say.
Yeah, definitely. The Chungpung ban is pretty interesting. That is something that OBABO didn't pick up in the previous match. Julian was, of course, picked up. But we have that Heigang as a first pick. So that's definitely a unit that both of them would contest if it was on the field. In this case, Timbo says, I like that unit. I'll probably go for my turn 2.
Exactly. If it's on the field and you're available to pick it, you want to steal it away from the opponent, as long as it's always strong for you as well. OBABO has around 10 seconds left. Is he going to change it up, or are we going to see a Sekhmet again? Let's find out soon, say.
I definitely do think OBABO does like his first turn. He doesn't really like to play second turn. He likes to go in, clean the units, and then take his victory that way. But Timbo has shown a lot of defensive stats, a lot of HP, a lot of defense, still enough speed. And that's going to be hard to actually get through to kill all of those units.
Here we go. We saw OBABO locking in Han and the Dark Robo. It's kind of a flip from his previous draft where he picked them last. And Timbo coming in with a Wind Bison or Cigar and Vanessa.
Interestingly enough, Timbo is still showing a lot of speed with that speed lead, with the Cigar, also mainly a unit that's built pretty fast. OBABO, what do you answer? Do you maybe go slightly more on the turn 2? There's not too much damage on the side of Timbo in this case. You could go maybe towards that Raccoon or towards other units that have more bruiser potential, mainly with passives in there, and maybe play your way that way. Or OBABO still likes to play the OBABO way, goes for the Athena Dibala, but does go for that Raccoon in this case. I definitely do like this draft because there's a lot of single target damage, but you're still on the bruiser side. It's not the moment that you're out of damage or you use all of your skills. It's like, okay, we're done. The enemy can take over in this case. There's a lot of back and forth expected from this match.
Yeah, you can see it's a bit more of a trademark, let's say, OBABO picking there with the Bella and Raccoon. Timbo now figuring out exactly how he's going to go into that with maybe Alexandra.
Talking about trademarks, definitely a trademark from Timbo, and definitely once again showing like, okay, I don't go any healers, but I go very tanky units. And let's see if you can damage check all of those, because that Alexandra is definitely a difficult unit to damage check.
Yeah, and he's matched it up with a Carnal as well. We've got OBABO coming in now for the last 13 seconds. Who do you think he needs to follow it up with, say?
You could go for a bunch of options. You could go for an immunity kind of style as that Shizuka, ban out the Cigar, because that is the potential to reset it. That is definitely an option. It is slightly difficult to control in this case. We do have the Raccoon for the healing, might be banned out other side. I probably expect that Cigar to be picked off the field.
Yeah, here we go then. They're thinking about it a little bit longer, so Cigar on the side of Timbo may be expected, but let's see if it actually is locked in. Oh, this is also a pivotal moment for both OBABO and Timbo. If Timbo wins this match, he's going to be going through to our semi-finals of the day, and it's a Shizuka ban and a Vanessa ban.
Pretty interesting. So on one side we respect the immunity, but on the other side we respect the speed lead. So OBABO's definitely going to take first turn, and with that Raccoon push up, let's see how much the Robo pushes back, and that's going to be a victory moment for OBABO if all of that lands. So we have the second match of OBABO against Timbo. How much can we do on that Robo? Actually does manage to push back everything. You have to make these turns count right now, OBABO. There's 3 units on the field that you definitely have to do a lot of damage to, but you can only probably fully push back 1. Not too many pushbacks on those. And we have the Raccoon being cut by the Cigar next. So technically, you would have to start stunning this Cigar, but there's so much stuff going on. Oh, Cigar moving next. Does not push back the Raccoon, but does have the skills of Raccoon. We will take a goodbye of that Carnal pretty soon, the moment it takes a turn. But we have that Alexandra actually saying like, no, Carnal, you're staying. I need you. You're gonna do that skill 3 because I gave you that protection.
Exactly, the protection manages to save Carnal for a little bit longer. And on the side of OBABO, there's a lot of provokes going on right now. It's tough, eh?
Yeah, this is definitely an uphill battle for OBABO at the moment. These units are more and more dropping in HP. The difficult thing is right now, the Raccoon can have some potential later. How much is that Han going to do? Because the moment the Alexandra starts cycling on the skills, it's very difficult as well. Plus we have that double Slayer on the field. The M-Bison is also Slayer, therefore also has the skill 1 of Provoke. And that's just slowly provoking all of the units of OBABO.
Yeah, and here we go. Alexandra's taking her turn. She is transforming.
This is expected to be a lot of damage. That's some pretty good damage. We do not have any despair stunts, which she mostly is despair stunt. Could be violent as well, but also we could be taking goodbye of that Han of the field right at this moment.
Exactly, and it looks... Oh, gets the stun on the Robo, but Raccooni's got an answer.
I'm not too sure about that stun on the Robo. It's definitely beneficial to stun that Robo, but we have that Raccoon slightly healing up that Han right now. The Han can go for skill 2 if the Han procs right now into a skill 3. Goes for skill 2 later. That might have been the biggest misplay. That's definitely, we talked about it today, we talked about it yesterday. Make those kills, because you do not always expect all of those procs to happen, and this could be a huge turnaround for OBABO.
Wow, massive game change there. Raccoon deciding, I've got something to say about this, but we've got Hey Gang with... Oh!
Hey Gang with the stomp, but the proc out. But the big question is right now, Alexandra has reflect. That Alexandra reflect, I'm not sure how much it's going to do. It doesn't kill the Hondo, but no, it does kill himself. You have to go for that skill 3. You have to land a lot of deep. He lands all of them through glancing. That is such benefit for OBABO. All of those debuffs through the glancing. Everything landed.
Oh my god, what a crazy interaction, eh? The reflect damage nearly kill. Whoa, say.
That was insane, but definitely we spoke about it before. Clear off those units when you have the chance, because if something procs out, it definitely does get the skills back up and it starts killing your team. And I would give that a slight misplay on the side of TIMBO.
Yeah, I mean, you're in the pressure situation, right? And especially in those things, you, as we said, you have to take a kill, right? Just maybe play it safe, make sure that you have a monster down, because things like that can happen. Suddenly he's still on the field. Raccoon goes into it, boosts up the Han. Han has a proc. That was a matter of 20 seconds where the game changed from one side to the other. And maybe it's a respect ban now from TIMBO saying, I don't want to try and kill him next time. That Robo's just not on the field, as we have Vanessa and Dark Robo banned.
Yeah, definitely right there. We also does again have the Vanessa as the pre-ban. Definitely a unit that TIMBO likes to pick up. Would we see a Hey-Gang first pick on the side of OBABO right now? Because we do know that it is a contested unit by TIMBO for sure. Or does OBABO rather go for his comfortable picks with maybe that Han or any of the other units?
Oh, here we go. He's probably just, you know, calming down after that whole situation of seeing if his reflect damage was going to kill him. But he goes for Shizuka.
Shizuka, slightly a bit of a different pace, and that gives the opener to TIMBO to say like, okay, we're going for more of those speed units with that Cigar, with that Hey-Gang. Is OBABO gonna show more speed, or is he actually going for a full turn 2? Maybe it's focusing into like that Raccoon, a Mea Wang later, any of those kind of units.
Yeah, he's thinking, he's taking his tack on this one, and let's see what he decides to lock in. Taking a bit more time than the previous sets as well, in order to just make sure that he's correct. He does go for a Raccoon if he decides to lock that one in. Changing out the Karnal for his Bella.
Yeah, that's more of a comfortable pick. I also definitely do expect that the Bella has one of the best runes of OBABO in there. But on the other hand, we have that Julian, and it also has been shown as very strong and very potential for a lot of damage. However, what do you finish it off with? There's a bunch of options. You could go towards more immunity, towards more sustain, but then in the 5th slot you have to add more damage again. Definitely goes for more sustain. In this case, goes for the Wind Pure Vanilla Cookie, which has a lot of sustain, has a lot of shields on that skill 3, also has a reflect if you hit any of the units that had a shield already.
Wow, we've got more reflect coming in. It's going to be pretty wild to see if we get it again. I also know that Julian is actually pretty fast as well. So I'm wondering if OBABO decided to pre-ban it the last turn, is going to ban it out for this time as well, with a Sekhmet pick and Karnal.
So Sekhmet and the Karnal is definitely signaling us like, okay, I do not have too much of everything going around, but I have a kind of everything going around. That is that Karnal, a lot of damage in there as well. We have the Bella with a lot of damage. We have the Sekhmet with armor break potential. So definitely the damage kind of is there. On the other side, TIMBO is only signaling that damage with the Julian, so your 5th slot definitely has to be damage. You could say that you add in that Alexandra once again, ban out that Raccoon, remove the sustain on the enemy side, and play around that way. But he goes for Chandra.
Wow.
That is very interesting. We have seen the Chandra before, played by Eric B from the Hong Kong, Taiwan, Macau region. Did not really work out, in all honesty, so definitely let's see over here, because I do think TIMBO is lacking a lot of damage right now, and Raccoon is still on the field, so I definitely do think that OBABO is going to be chipping left, right, center on the damage. But we shall see in the next match of TIMBO against OBABO.
Well, Hey-Gang moving first aid. Does he manage? Gets 2 glancing.
2 glancing, so definitely this is going to be a fight where, same as what we have seen yesterday with Livered, it's going to take quite a while for people to have damage going up. But in this draft, I'm just not entirely sure what TIMBO's idea was. Like, sure, OBABO has to fight a lot of shields, probably has to fight a lot of those hogs, as we called it, which is the skill of its defense. And we also call it as a hog because you're hugging your opponent or your ally, and therefore you're hitting that opponent the moment that ally is hit. You can work around that with the provokes, with the shields and all of that kind of good stuff going on. But we have Raccoon on the field for all of that protection as well. So the big question is, can Raccoon heal enough to keep all of the units alive enough? While on the other hand, we have the Cigar being hogged all the time, and we have the chip damage from the Chandra going in all the time. Very interesting interactions between two players here right now. But still, definitely, we also have that skill 1 strip from that Shizuka, which I definitely would try to throw on that Cigar, simply just to remove that defense, because otherwise it would keep provoking, the Bella would keep taking hits. And currently, the Chandra's not showing too much of damage.
Oh, big stun there from the Chandra.
Yeah, definitely a big stun, but this Bella is doing more and more chip damage. And an interesting thing about Bella is you cannot only just do damage, you can also destroy HP. And every time that OBABO decides to go for this kill, there's more and more destroyed HP. And therefore this Cigar is less and less lively on that.
Wow, Hagan getting some big stuns there. But we're going to get a hug again, or some sort of defend back onto the Wind Bison Cigar.
Yeah, definitely, and this Bella is looking slightly dire and dire on those hits that she's taking. The question is, once again, Raccoon, how long can you keep up all of those units? Because a lot of the damage that TIMBO does is spread out AoE. Because of those spread out AoEs, it is harder for Raccoon, which is a single target healer, to heal any of those units. We had a glancing skill 3 and it didn't do any damage. And I think the combination of Chandra plus the provokes it seems prevailing. Raccoon, you gotta step up your healing game. That is definitely what we need right now.
This is crazy. We're seeing so much reflect in 2 matches, which is usually not so prevalent. And TIMBO is using it to perfect display here. Bella's soon going down.
Yeah, Bella's definitely soon going down. We will have the Raccoon probably boosting up itself, giving that slightly bit more healing. No, actually decides to go for pushbacks, probably on the Chandra. Yep. But does land decent amount of damage right there. But the big question is, how long can you keep that Bella alive? Because that is very crucial.
It is. I mean, Shizuka's got skill 2 available to put that Soul Protect onto her. Procs in again. He's just going to go... Oh, goes into Chandra.
Yeah, still chipping away the damage of the Chandra right now. OBABO's kind of trying to manipulate all attack bars on the field at this moment. Does not land the provoke in this case, but does have the proc to land that second time provoke.
Here we go. Hagan coming in. Oh, Shizuka is not looking healthy right now.
No, Shizuka is maybe finding the better end of this battle right now. Oh. We have another stun once again on that Bella. We have more healing coming in from that cookie. And the units are looking very lively on the side of TIMBO. And on the side of OBABO, it's not looking too great.
No, we're down to 2 units with Raccoon and Bella. And you can just see how much work Chandra is doing in that squad with Wind Bison, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I was asking in the draft, like, where is the damage coming from? Well, the damage is coming from the reflex, once again, from a unit we're not too familiar with. The Wind Cookie did insane here. We have that victory for TIMBO.